Batman Off-World, issue 6, Jason Aaron writing with Doug Mahnke on the art. This is the final issue of the book. We can finally get a payoff. It's taken a long time. It's taken over a year to get through 6 issues of this. I don't know if that's Doug Mahnke's art holding things up or what. To give it credit, though, I felt like as soon as I started reading this, I found it very easy to remember where we were, what everything that was going on. Maybe some names I'd forgotten, but like all the context of what we were doing, I completely remembered. So,
but I instantly remembered, like, oh yeah, Batman got captured, and now he's with Whisper.
Yes,
and it's not good. Like, he needs to get up. You know? So yeah.
And I think, you know, another thing, of course, is that Ione had sort of turned him in. She's getting paid for that, and when she hears Batman scream, she turns. And of course, I was thinking, is she on the flip of the switch here, deciding to help him, or is this something they planned? And of course, the issue answers that by showing, no, this was Batman's plan. He kind of convinced her to help. Or I say he convinced her. Basically, she kind of revealed that Batman had kind of like, against her best wishes, has inspired her to not want to kill people, and that he represents something better. So she's pissed about it, but damn it, she wants to help him. And that's what leads to, you know, everything.
Because of you, I couldn't kill my rival.
Yes.
And I hate you for that.
Yeah, I think the big thing with this issue, and whether or not you're going to love or hate it, is how you feel about how Batman kind of survives against Whisper, and whether or not you like how this plays out. Because I think on paper, I could see how it could go bad, and how it might feel like Batman's just too strong, he's just too tough. I kind of liked it, though, in this issue.
So it reminded me of the issue back under Tom King's run in the I Am Bane.
Sure.
Where Batman goes to Santa Prisca, and he ends up just, you know, keep repeating, I'm Batman. And he keeps doing all of this fantastical stuff because of it. And I hated that issue because it was just Batman doing things because he's Batman. Here we've had 6 issues of him in this, you know, galaxy, upending the odds constantly because he's Batman. And I feel like those 5 issues before this really set the groundwork. And like, part of me wanted to be annoyed by him surviving this because he's Batman, but we've seen him do the impossible constantly. Right?
Oh, yeah, for me, that's not why this works, though. For me, it's got nothing to do with anything else he's done in this book or anything like that. For me, the concept here, right, so Whisper's whispering to him, whatever unknown whispers it is, and it's making him scream, and he's fighting against it, and then the big one, she goes off to take on Ione and whatever else, right? Is the idea is that Batman, like, part of like who Batman is his strength of will, right? His sense of right and wrong, his commitment to being Batman, this thing that's been there since childhood, that he's been determined to stick to, and like no one will ever break that. And how many villains have tried to break his spirits, make him kill, make him lose his shit, and not be Batman anymore, and he always withstands that, right? It's like a core part of the character. And this idea that he's able to withstand it longer than anyone normally does, and he effectively fights back by whispering back to Whisper, and we don't know what he's saying at first, right? We cut away, we see all the fight scenes with Ione and stuff, and the art here, you know, Doug Mahnke's art is fantastic here. It's really fun stuff. Like, Ione like blasts the big one in the face with 2 guns, and like, point blank, and she's like, I'm doing this because I know you're going to survive. And yeah, she's like, yeah, like I'm not even close to being dead. Like, and you know, so fun fight sequences. Punchbot comes in to help. He's kind of a likable character now. But ultimately, Batman shows up, right? Full Batman. He's ready to help Ione and all that. Big entrance, and it reveals what he said as he's helping them fight. He basically said to Whisper some truth, right? He gave Whisper the truth of who he is. He explained the alleyway. He explained how he became Batman, how he got all his scars, all that stuff. And it's basically just this idea that Whisper's finally encountered a character whose will could not be broken because he's Batman. And it obviously, because you can't see what Batman's saying either. It's all like little squiggles, and it's all just on thing until the very last thing when he finishes saying what he's saying, where he just leans in and says, I am Batman. And I kind of popped. I kind of popped for it because it was like, you didn't know what you were up against, Whisper. This is someone special. And yes, don't get me wrong, this is definitely saying Batman is special because he could withstand this. It absolutely is. But at the very least, if there's one thing that you're going to tell me that Batman's good about, it's not that he can do physical things that no one else can. It's that he is so devout to who he is and so committed to what he is that this can't break him. I can kind of get on board with that. I was into it. I was fist pumping. Him fighting this off by just saying who he is back at him, and then just this core idea that he's inspired Ione, and like by taking out the Black Suns and freeing up this galaxy, and all these planets are now free. They're not being forced to mine anything, and the symbol of the bat's become to mean something to all these places, to the point where, you know, he points out to Ione, hey, like, this place is now got no sense of law. There's no one like governing this place and like keeping people in line. It needs that, and he's basically suggesting to Ione that she be the one to sort of take that role as the sheriff of this galaxy. And we see, once he's back on Earth, that these planets, when they've got a problem, they light up like a giant bat signal on the planet to call her in. And her and Batbot, as he's renamed himself as, comes in and takes on whatever's going on and deals with it. So it's all kind of about how his determinations helped kind of inspire it. Honestly, in a lot of ways, this is very much the Batman equivalent to Warworld Saga.
Just told over 6 issues, right?
Yeah, in a lot of ways, I see a lot of parallels to that. Yeah. And I think it helped a lot that Ione was a great supporting character. They gave us someone new that was fun to read. Her calling Batman an idiot and kissing him at the end before he leaves, I thought was also quite sweet. And she's still a badass, and she's very badass throughout this entire issue.
That's his type. Selena calls him an idiot all the time.
For sure, yeah. He's got a type. No doubt.
Also, Punchbot showing up to punch the bigger of them. It's such a good moment.
Yeah, that was good, because obviously Punchbot was very weak and existed only to be punched, and the fact that he's now overcome that programming to fight for something is also very sweet. So, yeah, the issue ends, of course, with Batman being back in Gotham, and he knows all the weaknesses now of this alien dude, so he's able to take him down quite easily. But we intercut that with like seeing what happens with these planets where they're lighting up the big bat signals in the sky. And when I say the sky, I mean, you look at the planet and it looks like a big bat signal. Like they've got like a big bat shape glowing over the surface of the planet. So, and we see that Ione's not only policing these planets, but she's even dressing up in a bat outfit to do it. So, yeah, it's super, super nice. And I really, actually, I love the callback to year one, as he's winning against the Black Suns. He says, "You have feasted well. That's over now," or whatever. He quotes the year one line. I thought that was a perfect choice. Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Well, and I love too, he goes back to Earth to fight that alien. That there's the reason why he's there, right? And this time he knows exactly what to do, because he has fought these guys now, and the fight's kind of over before it's begun, and it adds to the legend that is Batman, right? In Gotham.
Yeah, so, this idea that he's inspired others out there. So the final panel is just like 3 or 4 planets that all have bat symbols on them. Just in this, and the idea that the Slag Galaxy now is this galaxy where just the legend of the bat is. I think I also kind of like about this in hindsight now is that it kind of feels like, okay, this is set early days Batman, which at first I thought was a little bit hard to take in, because like, oh, this is like year 3 Batman and he's not really got the Justice League yet. In a weird way though, I almost feel like this is him proving that he can stand with the Justice League. Like, he's been out there and done this, so you know, when he stands next to Superman and Wonder Woman and whoever else, it's like, no, he proved that he could inspire this thing in Gotham, that he could build this legend in Gotham, but now he's built it in a whole galaxy. Now, am I saying that I want this to be like a canon Batman story where I consider that he's actually done this in the first few years of his career? Probably not, but as a standalone book that's separate, I kind of loved it.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff that Jason Aaron did with Thor, right? With Thor is this mythological mythological person, right? But he turns and makes that legend of Thor feel like this big epic. And that's what he does here, you know, with Batman. And yeah, like, everything's earned by the end here. These planets with the bat symbols on them, right? It's all because his presence has made the Slag Galaxy a better place now.
Yeah, and the art's phenomenal throughout. But I think the big thing, just looking at the story as a whole, is just as much as the concept at face value sounded like this doesn't feel right for a Batman story, by the end of it, I didn't care that much because it was so well told. Like he set up, Batman struggles early on, the relationship with Ione, and she's a really likable character. Punchbot's a really likable character. So by the time we got to maybe like issue 3, it started to feel like I'm kind of getting into this just because it's such a good, well-told story. This is kind of the opposite of like a lot of Joshua Williamson to me, where Joshua Williamson has concepts that I think are great ideas, and then he just ruins it with his writing. This is the opposite, where the concept was like, I don't know if I'm feeling the concept of this, but the writing was so good and the art was so good that by the time I got to the end of it, I'm like, I was super into I was, like fist pumping, I was breathing sighs of relief, I was enjoying these villains, and even the villains were good. I thought they were a creepy pair of, Cenobite looking villains. And this idea that, okay, Batman was maybe never going to physically overcome the tall one because she's got super strength, but he can mentally overcome the one that was going to mess with his head because he's got the determination and the willpower to do that. So, and to be fair, like, if you are going to argue that maybe it's a bit too overpowering for Batman to be able to overcome this Whisper character, keep in mind these villains have been operating in a galaxy that all fear them. So they're relatively weak-minded towards them because they expect to lose. So the idea that Batman comes in with the idea of like, no, I'm going to win, is not something they're used to.
But you see how much that Batman almost quits because he says that in his narration.
Sure, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I'm not saying it's easy for him. Like it shouldn't be easy for him. It should be tough.
But
yeah. So no, I think against the odds, against the delays, which were big and wide, and against the concept not really speaking to me at first, it kind of won me over, and I really like this book. I think this was a really solid ending to it. I think Batman standing up against Whisper was a really cool moment. It was really simple because it wasn't a fight. I love that it wasn't a fight. It was just the battle of the mind and the ideology just kind of is what won out. So, no, really cool. All right, what are you giving Off-World issue 6?
I'm gonna use an 8.
I gotta go 9. I really like this.